I've now got that recording for YouTube. VK3BOT, VK3FRJH, VK3FMLD. Do we have any other takers for the EasyPal net? Okay, gentlemen, are you ready? Are you ready, Stan?
Yeah, I am. Looks as though it's going to be pretty quick tonight. So we're all back in lockdown again. I don't know how that's going to look for your do in a couple of weeks' time, Chris. That could be interesting. How are you going to manage that one? Because you just can't meet down the hall no more.
It's all going to be done via Zoom internet meeting, apparently. So I'm one of the problems is that my webcam is very old, and apart from loo paper and hand sanitizer, the one product that's in incredibly low quantities of availability at the moment, for reasons that may be obvious, are webcams. Everybody's sold out. The JB, Harvey Norman, Officeworks, I can't think of, about half a dozen I've tried, and they're all absolutely sold out. They do have some webcams, but they're crap. I'm looking for a webcam around the $150 mark, so that if I get something good, I won't have to buy it again in 5 years' time. VK3BOT for comment before I hand round VK3AML.
You could try Evil Bay. Evil Bay might be worth a look. But I know how you feel, because I've been doing some shopping for my camping trips, and I can't get it. The stuff that I want, I can't get. I can get it on Evil Bay, and I'm going to have to buy it on Evil Bay because I can't get it out of the way. It's actually been that way for probably around about, I don't know, March. It's been about March, and I've been sort of trying to get little bits and pieces. All right, well, at any rate, we're heading around a group. I'm ready to go when you give me the word with the first image. Just a warning to all and sundry, our illustrious VK3AML has been up to some Mickey Mouse business, so tonight could be rather entertaining. Back to you, Chris, and then you can pass it around the group, mate. VK3BOT said that.
It all will be revealed, as you know, Stan. VK3FRJH, are you all set up and ready, Steve? VK3AML.
I need a little bit of time, but by the end of this round I should be. Have you tried MSY looking for a webcam?
Where are they? Do they have a shop, or are they strictly online sale?
They're in Mitcham and Malvern. Those are the ones that I can remember.
Sorry, what was the name again?
MSY, Mike Sierra Yankee. They're in Mitcham, and you can check on their website if they have stock.
Yeah, okay, MSY, I'll check. Mitcham. Thanks for that. Yeah, Stan, eBay I could do, but what I'm noticing is that people have bought from the major suppliers at, let's say, a level of $150, and they're selling the same items on eBay for $250. So there's a lot of profiteering going on at the moment, and I have to try and avoid that. I suspect the profiteering will extend to toilet paper soon. VK3FMLD, how have you been, Chris, and are you ready? VK3AML.
3AML in the group, VK3FMLD. Yeah, I'm ready. I've fixed my problem with my computer. It turned out to be the microphone port was muted. Weird, I don't know how that happened. Now, I have, whether it's any use to you or not, in my hand, still in its box, which has been opened, but the thing hasn't been taken out, a Microsoft LifeCam VX700, which has a camera that sits on top of a monitor and a microphone / headset that plugs into it with it looks like its own volume control. You can borrow that if you can't find anything. So yes, I'm ready to rock and roll, and there's an offer too good to refuse. VK3AML, VK3FMLD.
Thanks, Chris. I've been offered a loan of a suitable webcam from Mike, the EMDRC president. But if that should provide any problems, we'll certainly give you a hoy. Anyway, Stan, the floor is yours, or whatever, and go for it. VK3BOT with the first image, VK3AML.
Righto. It'll be in mode A, and according to Hoyle, it should take about 60 seconds. VK3BOT at the drop of the repeater will start the evening's proceedings.
You can't do that. You know where he's going. Anyway, good on you, Stan. How did you go with it, Steve? VK3FRJH. Did you receive that? VK3AML.
Oh, I just saw it. Very humorous.
Okay. Well, how many what dB sig to noise?
Sorry, my SNR is 11 dB.
Not bad. Mine is 21, so you're going very well, Stan. VK3FMLD, how did you go, Chris? VK3AML.
5 out of 106 failed decode, but I got it on, what's it called? Yeah, it resolved on progressive. That's what I was trying to think of. So 7 dB.
No worries. We all got it, Stan. Where did you get this from?
These are all off the net, Chris. I think they're quite good. I mean, as you know, Chris, I am a man of the faith, but I love these ones because they're actually rather humorous. I mean, I don't mind sending up religion, and I don't care which religion it is, but being a Christian, I therefore send up Christianity because I can get away with it. We poke fun at each other, but it all come off the net, mate. You can find them dead easy. Just search for Christian humour and you'll find them.
There are some good Christian memes out there.
Yeah, that's for sure. I might put a similar one up myself. I think I have something suitable, if I can find it. Yeah, I'll just transfer that across. But would you like to go next, Steve? If you don't go, maybe Chris, 3FMLD?
Just have to copy a picture into EasyPal and then I can go.
Would you prefer me to put Chris FMLD first? Okay, whenever you're ready, Steve.
Having a few issues. I'll be ready in a few minutes.
Okay, in that case, we'll go round to Chris, VK3FMLD. Are you set up for transmitting yet, Chris?
Yeah, I just got it. This one was a bit long, 121 seconds. I'll just shrink it down to about 60-ish. There we go, set. Hopefully I've got my levels right tonight. I set it at the same as I did last week at at 17, so we'll see how this goes at the drop of the repeater. I'll throw this one up in the air and see where it goes. Okay, there we go.
What's the consensus, Stan? I found that too high in level.
Oh, it was way too high in level, it was way too high in volume, it was way too high in everything. Awfully sorry, but that wasn't no good. Didn't even get a lock.
Can you pull it down by about 6 dB, Chris, and try again?
It's about 6 dB. I've dropped it from 17 on the speakers to 10. It might be too low. We'll see how we go. Hopefully that was better.
Yes, it was. How do you get away with this stuff? It's like 15 dB. How did you go, Stan?
Yeah, well, we're good. Yes. And the man said, ow, that hurt. 6 dB at VK3VOT file OK.
And you, Steve, how did you go?
5 dB full decoder, high.
Kind of music that will never catch on.
Somebody came in with a comment there. I couldn't quite get it. Could you try again?
Was that kind of music will never catch on.
It's probably right. Oh, dear. Yeah, well, congratulations on finding that one. You must spend ages looking for these, Chris.
Just gathered over the years. I don't know how long I've had that one for. I could probably look in the collection and see, but I'm sure this came off 1 or 2 or 3 computers ago.
Okay, anyway, I suppose my turn now. Oh, wait a minute. Steve, I think it's you. VK3FRJH, VK3AML.
Yep, I'm ready. I'll have an image. On the museum thing, there was a place like that in China, and it was great because when I found the page for it, it said it was family friendly down the bottom. Anyway, I will transmit at the drop of the repeater.
Got that. 15 dB, level trifle low, but it's okay. You're looking very pensive there, Steve. How did you go on that one? Stan, VK3BOT, VK3AML.
9 dB here. It looks as though he's about to face the Inquisition, doesn't it? You know, the microphone's sitting there and we're ready to, sort of looks like, if I don't get this right, I'm in the shit.
It looks like me about 50 years ago when I sabotaged the school PA system, but anyway. Chris, VK3FMLD, did you get that okay?
Can't imagine you sabotaging the school PA system, Chris. Yeah, no problems. 8 dB here, full decode of every segment received.
Explanation, Steve?
Right, that was about 2 years ago, actually. Would have been taken in 2018 or 19. It was either 1 or 2 years ago. My mates and I had just gone to this climate protest and we were bored and we realised that Melbourne Parliament House was open for tourists. So we just kind of, we put on a little bit of an accent and we went in. And that's me sitting in Parliament House, Melbourne.
Not in the Premier's chair, surely.
Exactly where I was.
Holy moly, you could have declared a lockdown.
No, I'm sure I would have thought of better plans.
Oh, I don't know about better. I feel a bit safer with everybody locked down. Of course, to me it doesn't make much difference. I'm retired. It just means I move a bit less. But I imagine for you, Steve, the education side must be a bit of a pain.
I had to go through that whole remote learning thing last term. That was awful.
Well, sorry to say, it looks like at least a part of this term is going to be the same. And I'm having to learn how to use Zoom for lecturing for this next EMDRC thing. So, you know, we're all in the same boat, I think. Yeah, just briefly, Chris, I had a problem with a certain principal in a school. I had been disciplined, which in those days meant capital punishment. Not quite death, but something close to it. So being the school PA monitor, because I was interested in technology, I discovered that all the relays for all of the rooms that he could switch his PA system to was controlled by mechanical relays with a return spring. Guess who left the principal's office with a pocket full of return springs so that the next time he switched the PA system on, he couldn't switch it off. And we could hear what was going on in the principal's office for the next hour. He got so flustered, he got up to the microphone and said, and I'll never forget this quote, "Would anybody who can't hear this announcement please come to the front office?" Which caused the whole school to burst out laughing. Anyway, 52 years later. Okay, somebody might see something familiar in the waterfall, and then I'll go on to an image. VK3 Alpha Mike Lima, I'll put an image up now.
VK3FTZD, just quickly.
Oh yeah, hi, Tim.
Yeah, g'day. I've got a decode on that one at 12 dB as well. I've just jumped out here. I'll see how I'm going. I've been up since 4 a.m. this morning, so I'll see how I go for the next night.
Okay, if you can stay for part, that's fine. If you can stay for more, that's better. If you can't stay, we'll be very sorry. But it's nice to hear you there, Tim.
Yeah, likewise. I've got the antenna up higher and there's absolutely no hiss behind anyone. I could even hear the hum behind Steve's signal there. So there's definitely, I should have definitely a lot better signal receiving everyone.
Good stuff, Tim. Well, I'll now go into a EasyPal transmission as soon as the repeater drops. Okay, Stan, how did you go? VK3BOT, VK3AML?
Yeah, I tell you what, I can see that. Yeah, take your pick. What do you want? Red Sea, Sinai, Pentecost? That Pentecost one's rather interesting. And Revelation one's rather applicable. Pentecost one, that's a bit of a mystery, that one. Yeah, not bad. We're back to the program. Oh, by the way, I liked the picture in the waterfall. That was pretty good. You must tell me how you did that. 15 dB at VK3BOT file OK.
Well, that's the point. I'm not quite sure how I did it. I couldn't get rid of it for a little while. VK3FMLD, Chris, how did you go? VK3AML.
Pick myself up off the chair. chair off the floor. Yeah, good one. 89 out of 89, full decode, and 7 dB here.
Okay, Steve, 3FRJH.
Code 9 dB SNR, 77 out of 80 out of 89.
Ooh, you missed out.
Yeah, no idea what it is.
Okay, did you get your own image in the waterfall?
Yes, all the waterfall images came in very well.
Okay. Dear, oh dear. No, look, we'll just move on, I think. Tim, how did you go? VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
VK3AML, VK3FTZD, I got that at 19 dB. If anything, it sounds like your level might be just a touch low, but that could be my end as well. I've got you directly into the line input on my PC rather than the mic input, and I've got the RX level turned up to max, so I'd have to go into the mic input to increase that even further. But I still got a full decode on it, 19 dB, and that waterfall picture, you can do that through the WF pick button at the top of the screen. So you know the setup hybrid action drop-down menus. All the way across there's WF pick before WF text. If you've got it sitting on the RX tab, when you click that, it allows you to send the receive picture as a waterfall. And if you've got it on the TX tab and you click on it, it'll allow you to send the transmit picture as the waterfall pick. And any audio spectrum analyzer should be able to pick that up as well.
Yeah, good one, Tim. I didn't know how to put it into words. You've obviously got it better. Okay, are you set up for transmitting, Tim?
I am. I just got to set up a radio for monitor. If this thing's got some charge in it. Oh, look at that, it does. It actually works. And a plug pack which is not plugged in. It will be plugged in half a second. Of course there's no room on the power board. I've got the same issue I had at Hoppers where I've got nothing on my desk. Okay, that should be good to go for an image, if that's alright.
Fire away.
No worries, this is VK3FTZD with an EasyPal image at the drop of the repeater.
We've got you conflicted with the repeater ident. I didn't get a decode on that. I can send you let's just see if I can send you a BSR file. No, I can't. I can't even send a BSR file on that. I'm sorry. Did anybody else succeed in decoding that? VK3BOT, Stan?
3dB at VK3BOT, file okay, and I can tell you that that is a very, very familiar building to me.
Oh, okay. Well, I didn't get it. Steve, how did you go? VK3FRJH, VK3AML.
Decode 5 dB signature noise.
Okay, interesting. I didn't get it. VK3FMLD, how did you go, Chris?
Segments out of the 172, signal to noise ratio of 1 dB, and it was mostly out of sync. MSC was off most of the time. I think compared to your signal, Chris, Tim's signal is very low. But I thought, compared to what Tim said, I thought your signal was quite high. So, yeah, and comparatively on the waterfall, your signal was much higher than Tim's.
Well, there are two of us that have missed Tim. Would you care to try again and raise the level a little?
Yeah, no worries. I don't mind attempting to raise the level. I've just turned the TX level back to about where I normally would, so it's down a little bit, but I've turned it up on the PC. We'll see how that goes. This is VK3FTZD, resending the last image.
Okay, I got that almost as soon as you started transmitting, Tim. I obviously was missing a tiny bit of header information. How about you, Chris? VK3FMLD, VK3AML.
2 dB. It went up to 3 dB at one stage, just dropped back to 2 dB, and I'm still missing 53 segments, so no decode.
Well, we'd better not try it again, but I can see what Stan means by it's a building he's very familiar with. Interesting, the crane over opposite where they're building that new underground station. Heaven knows what they'll call it. To you for comment, Tim, VK3FTZD. Oh, it was 15 dB here, VK3AML.
Okay, so it seems that the level was a bit low. I don't know what's happened, but I've just got a massive amount of static come through from this repeater. I don't know what's going on there. Who knows? Probably the neighbours turned something on. Comment on this one. I was working just there at the tram stop, and I went, oh, that's a cool picture with the clouds in the background and Flinders. You can see the copper. That'll make a perfect image for tonight's net. So this was taken today. And then I cropped it down, of course, so that you didn't see a lot of the advertising material that's up. Because, you know, advertising and amateur radio don't mix, of course. But yeah, I thought it was a nice picture, and yes, that crane is for the new station that's being built. Apparently, is a bit of information as well. The De Graves subway, the end of that is apparently going to connect into that new station as well, so you can walk through the underpass to the new station. I thought that was kind of cool when one of the guys was telling me that. Back to you there, Chris. VK3AML, VK3FTZD.
Yeah, good stuff. It's going to be interesting to see how that underground thing works. Any comments, Stan? VK3BOT, VK3AML. You're very familiar with that site.
No, it's actually a good picture. Yeah, very, very interesting thing about that dome. You don't clean the dome because it's copper, and it won't deteriorate any further than what it is. It'll stay exactly as it is. But if you clean the green off, then it'll go back to being that way again, and eventually you get out of it. But yeah, nice to see that the building hasn't changed any. I wonder if the atmosphere is any better. I reckon it'll be awfully quiet on them trains too, Tim. Now, Tim, if we can get you to get your speaking up as good as what your digital is, we'll be in business. By the way, we went from 3 dB on your first go to 7 dB on that go. Yeah, back to you, Chris.
Yeah, it improved here too, so the level was a little on the low side, Tim. You're all okay with that image, Steve? VK3FRJH, VK3AML.
Yeah, full decode, got a good quality.
Good-o. And Chris, we know you got it. Okay, we go back to the head of the list. Stan, VK3BOT, are you set up?
Yeah, I am. VK3BOT at the drop of the repeater. We will go back to the beginning.
Whoa, 21 dB, so don't touch your level, Stan, you're dead right. If I'm right, that's an FJ. But it looks a little odd for an FJ. Our first car was an FJ, a cream one, just like that. I was taken to the 56 Olympics in one. I can just remember it. It was about my 3rd birthday. So, how did you go, Steve? Chris, VK3FMLD, VK3AML.
Break.
Yep.
I'm here, Chris. I'm listening.
Oh, good, Terry. Thanks. How are you feeling?
Yeah, good, mate. Good. Ready to go anyhow through a picture when everybody's ready or whatever.
Okay, I'll just take it round the group for reactions to that shot and a quick comment from Stan, and then we can get on to you. VK3F... Jesus. I'm looking upwards. the call sign, Terry?
Put me at the bottom, Chris. FTJS. Fox Tango Juliet Sierra.
Make allowances, I'm an old bloke. Sorry, Terry. Anyway, you got that, Chris? VK3FMLD, VK3AML.
Behave yourself, Junior. I reckon it's 48215, and I can tell you right now the radio antenna is not original equipment. But there you go. A 106 out of 106 full decode and 6 dB. That's my, no, it's not the best one for the night. Steve's was 8 dB, so. Yeah, nice looking car. In fact, I saw one on the road, I think last weekend, just up the top of Victoria Road, Maroondah Highway, turning out of Maroondah Highway to head north towards Lilydale Airport. Very nice looking car it was too. VK3AML, VK3FMLD.
They were pretty comfortable, actually, from my memory of them. But yeah, car radios were a bit rare at that stage. VK3FRJH, how did you go on Stan's pick, Steve?
Full decode, 11 dB. Very nice looking car there. Looks comfortable.
And fully locally made, furthermore. Tim, VK3FTZD, how did you do? VK3AML.
Yeah, I got that at 3 dB, a whole 1, 2, 3 dB. Yes, that is a very, very nice old girl. I don't think it's Holden though. I'm not sure. I'm sure Stan will tell us exactly what model and make that is.
Okay. Did you manage to decode that, Terry, or are you still setting up?
No, I've got it at 13 dB, but I didn't get a decode because I was testing the TX on this, so, yeah, but I did get it at 13 and I got a lock, so, yeah, I just went over and started testing this, so, yeah, no, it's fine.
Okay, no worries. Stan, some explanation? VK3BOT, VK3AML.
Well, there's one good thing. Nobody called it an FX. Its common prefix, which was actually not given to it by General Motors Holden at all, was FX, but the correct one is 48215, and I think Ben Chifley was the Prime Minister at the time, and it was the first car manufactured in Australia. It was not designed in Australia, contrary to some popular belief. Australian engineers had some input into it, but our illustrious American brethren who know much better about these things than what we did said you'll do it our way or it's the highway. But at any rate, at least they had some input into it. Yeah, 48215, bit before your time, Chris, you actually rode around in the one that followed this, which was the FJ. Not much difference between the two vehicles, the grille I think mainly. Yeah, and that's taken from down a car show down here on the peninsula. Of course, with COVID-19 being a part of the deal, that car show's not happening, and even if it was, I couldn't drive down there anyway because it's out of Greater Melbourne. We ain't allowed to do that. But anyway, yeah. So it's there, and there's a couple of these float around, and there's lots of the old original cars that get down there. So there we are. Back to you, Chris, and around the group she goes. VK3AML, VK3BOT, who will be a good boy. That will be hard. You and I are we are in good company, Chris. We're old farts. Yes, back to you, mate.
Yeah, don't worry, Stan. I won't make a farting noise on the air. I noticed that that was what threw me. The grille was a bit different to what my parents had. From memory, my parents had a grille with a kind of a chromed bar higher and across the middle. Back to you.
I'm not sure that I've got a picture of the FJ here, but if I have, I'll throw it up. I've got a few. I'm looking at an FB. I'm looking at a HD, which is one my dad had. I have got a picture of the FJ. Right, next coming up will be the FJ. So round the group it goes, Chris, and then I'll show you the car that you went to the Olympics in. Yeah, back to you.
No worries. It was cream, our car, and it the number plate was UE000. Probably somebody with looking for a custom number plate would have got that by now. Though UE, who knows what they'd use that for. So it's over to Chris, VK3FMLD, VK3AML. You ready? Oh, sorry, it's Terry.
VK3AML, VK3FMLD. Yeah, I was off in Fairyland looking at pictures of FJs and FXs. Sorry, 48215s, which is what I picked it to be when I first saw it. Now, I've just downloaded a new picture for using tonight, and I can't find it, so I'll have to find something else. But yeah, there's a distinct difference in grill, and the placement of that badge in the middle of the grill. The bonnet shape's a little different as well, and the Parker is placed in a different location as also. So they're quite a different car. Let's pick that one. This is appropriate. So at the drop of the repeater, VK3FMLD will send a funny picture.
You next, Terry.
Okie dokie.
Well, I suppose that's what you do on it. How did you go, Stan? VK3BOT, VK3AML.
Well, I'd like to know what you're supposed to do and what you're supposed to do on it. I've got the total number of segments was 60 and I got 17 out of that lot. It sort of petered out about a third of the way through, so I don't quite know what went there. Yeah, very interesting, but I guess it's a good picture.
Yeah, resolved here, only 13 dB though. You could do with just dropping the level a shade further, Chris, but I'm getting it okay. VK3 FTJS. Terry, how did you go with that? We'll have you next, by the way. VK3FTJS, VK3AML.
Yeah, 5 dB, full decode, but I did miss segments, but I did get a decode on it. Yeah, there's a few, what did I get? Total was 60, total of 43 I got, so, yeah, 17's still missing.
Yeah, it came up on progressive for me, and I got the full range, but only just. Level is still a little high. VK3FRJH, Steve, you do okay?
I'm missing 3 segments, but I got a pretty good decode at 2 dB.
Okay, VK3FTZD, how'd you go, Tim?
Yeah, I got a full decode on that at 13 dB, but I have noticed that Chris, you don't have your call sign set up in the app, so it comes up as no call on the top of the screen. That's all. But yeah, full decode came through as progressive and 13 dB.
Good stuff. Okay, well, it's over to Terry, I guess. VK3FTJS, would you care to give us your images?
finally beat it. Okay, I'll go now. VK3FTZD with the image.
Nice one, and I know where this is too. In fact, that's almost looking at the same position that Tim's photo earlier was. This is prior to the building of the present Flinders Street, and it would be just prior to 1900, I think, or around the year 1900. Interesting how much has changed. Stan, VK3BOT, did you get that?
So I was right. I thought I had seen this image before, Chris, when I was doing some research a couple of years ago, if you remember. I don't know if you were around then. Might have been back in the days of Peter. But, yeah, it was actually very interesting. So really all I did was to move the clocks from whereabouts they are to just a bit further around. Yeah, a really, really interesting building. That'll tell you what, you can spend a lot of time around Flinders Street. And the worst part about it is that nobody will ever get to see it now. Yeah, incredible. Oh, by the way, Terry, 17 dB down here. Good picture. Very, very good indeed. Yeah, can't complain about that. Something I've noticed, Chris, I don't know if you've been taking a bit of a notice of it, but the signal-to-noise ratios tonight are they're a bit like a chook running around a chook pen, scratching here and scratching there, ranging anywhere from 2 to 21, and even within the same group. Like I think last time the highest reading was 17 and the lowest was 3. But yeah, good picture. Don't know where you got it from, but it's a good one.
Yeah, that's a nice one. And likewise here, they're very great range. The lowest is 9 dB and the highest, that last one from Terry gets the prize tonight, 24 dB. Very, very good. Okay, Steve, VK3FRJH, did you get that properly?
18 dB, 187 out of 187. Full decode, really good.
Yeah, the clock's now around the corner to the right, but where they took this from would now be standing in front of Federation Square, I think, looking across the road, basically at the corner of Flinders and Swanson Street. Boy, that's a long time ago. VK3FMLD, how'd you go, Chris? VK3AML.
3AML, VK3FMLD. Yeah, right up near the bridge. I recognise that well from my youth. I've seen the picture before. Yeah, it was a few years ago though. 19 dB, full decode, every segment received.
You're doing well, Terry. And Tim, VK3FTZD, how'd you do?
Yeah, I got that at 17 dB here, a full decode. And yes, very, very nice picture. I think it's probably just down a little bit from where I took my photo. Maybe, actually, I'm not sure. I can't remember where that butcher was, whether that was close to the corner or halfway down. But that's probably about where there's a few little shops like the vegan place that does chips and stuff. And a few other things there. I think that's roughly that area.
Yeah, well, all those buildings are now gone completely. They were replaced, I think, between 1906 and 1910 when they opened the modern Flinders Street building. So we go to Tim to VK3. So I think Steve's got it. I've got it. I think that's all. So we now go to Terry. We go to Steve for the next picture. VK3, sorry about the confusion, VK3FRJH, VK3AML.
Can I just jump in there for a minute, Chris?
Yeah, sure, Stan.
You know what's really interesting about that picture? I mean, obviously it's taken a very long time ago, but you can see how far that the suburban network went around then. So you've got the line going out to St Kilda and Port Melbourne, Coburg, Brighton, Essendon and Williamstown and Preston. It's really, it's actually, so there's a lot of history involved, quite apart from the fact that it's a damn good picture, Chris, over.
Yeah, I think that they had started the eastern lines, like up to Lilydale and Ringwood, but you had to walk across the road to Prince's Bridge, the other side, I think, at that stage. I don't think there was an sort of a room under for the trains at that time. I know there was a time, and I think it's way back in the 1880s, where there was no raised railway line between Flinders Street and Spencer Street. Took them a long while to work that out. But certainly things were progressing greatly with the railway lines at that time. VK3BOT, VK3AML.
I've just actually been watching a series of YouTube videos, and there's a young bloke who's doing a whole set, and he's actually going around Melbourne and doing all of the lines. And I was not aware of the fact that that there was no rail for the Burnley group. The Burnley group came in much later. But obviously the Preston line must have been there, because Preston takes you up to Epping and out to Hurstbridge and stuff like that. So there must have been a track out there, but there was nothing to connect this. Like the one for this was on the other side of the river. It wasn't connected here to Flinders Street. You actually, and apparently from what he was saying, is that you actually had to you had to leave this station, walk across Swanston Street Bridge to a railway station that was on the other side, and then you caught the train to go out to wherever that you wanted to go, down onto the southern, down onto the Burnley and the Caulfield group.
You can see why they acquired rail lines from the private companies and made them all Vic Rail. It was a dog's breakfast.
Well, Western Australia wasn't any better, mate. I mean, we had a ludicrous situation over there when you went up towards Geraldton, and you had the government line went out to Millenden, and then from Millenden, well, actually it was from Walkaway to, I just can't remember the name of the other place. That was a private rail. And then you went from Walkaway to Geraldton, and you were then back on the government rail again. The government rail over in Western Australia actually went down the inland. It actually went down across from Geraldton over to Mullawar, down to Mullawar, Perenjori, and then came out of Gamelling, and then Northern went to Perth, the other one, which is privately owned. So, Victoria didn't have a mandate on silliness when it comes to rail. I think that it was sort of, men overloaded with testosterone. At any rate, shall we move on? Because we can be here on that picture all night.
Yeah, it is an interesting one, but I think 3FRJH, it's your turn now. VK3AML.
I'm sorry in advance for this one.
Sorry? Yes, and apart from the things he's not got there, he's about to lose 3 more. Thanks for I see now why you apologised beforehand, Steve. Stan, did you get that okay? I got that at 16 dB, VK3BOT, VK3A.
You know what's really amazing, Chris? That audio level on that's lower than Tim's speaking audio. And yet I've come up here with 9 dB file OK at VK3BOT. That's come up really well. And yes, you're quite correct. Yes, he's about to join the chain gang.
Really, he won't ever have hemorrhoids, that's for sure. VK3FMLT. How did you go, VK3A?
Very interesting. I'll never be able to say, here you go, knackers. It's 7 dB here. And, yeah, very funny, very funny. Full decode, all segments received. Good.
Terry, 3FTJS?
Yeah, full decode, 10 dB. Yeah. Do we call him, one ball?
None, and no middle wicket either, I think. VK3FTZD. Tim, how did you go?
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTZD returning. Yes, full decode on that, 12 dB. I'm actually in the process of sorting through a box full of cables in the hope that I've got an RCA to 3.5mm cable or adapter. I know I've got multiple of each somewhere here, but the process is moving. So I can lift those levels up a bit on my end to see if I can get a bit more. And Stan, for programming this to have it so that I've got louder speaking volume, it's a bit harder because I don't actually have any controls other than plugging the programming cable in and reprogramming the whole radio to adjust the levels for the microphone, unfortunately. But see how we go. Yeah, so full decode, and I can spot probably a few other issues there, or a few less things that'll happen.
No worries. Are you ready to go immediately, Tim, or should I take one and then you take one?
You go, because I haven't got the image ready to go yet.
Okay, here's a relative quickie. VK3AML with an EasyPal. Pick on the drop of the repeater. Okay, Stan, did you manage that?
Oh yeah, 15 dB, VK3BOT file OK, peak leg.
Story is, this is a photo transistor. The OC71 was a germanium audio transistor, and they made this version, which is basically the same transistor but with a glass thimble covering, and they're very light sensitive. And I used one of these with a mechanical scanner to make my first very crude television camera when I was in my late teens. What I didn't know was that these things are much more sensitive to infrared light than they are to visual. So I'd built a visual camera, an infrared camera, and I was wondering why the pictures looked so unnatural. I thought something was wrong with my video amplifier or something was wrong with the optics. It wasn't. It's a perfectly good infrared picture. Produced a picture of me with white hair at the age of 18 and very pink cheeks because it was measuring temperature rather than visual reflectivity. But yeah, it cost me about $5, which was a fair bit of money in 1969 or thereabouts. VK3FMLD, did you get that, Chris? VK3AML.
No problems, 9 dB, 88 out of 88, full decode, and I thought, that's an interesting looking device. I was trying to work out if it was a diode or not, and then I saw the 3 leads on it. I thought, hey, it's got to be a photo transistor of some sort. And you explained it perfectly. VK3AML, VK3FMLD.
No worries. Did you get it, Terry? VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, 19 dB, perfect decode, Chris. Not a problem at all.
I think my level might be just a shade high. VK3FRJH, did you get it, Steve? VK3AML.
I got it 10 dB over.
Good stuff. Tim, VK3FTZD.
Yeah, I got that at 20 dB, 20 dB, VK3AML, VK3FTZD.
Sounds like I leave the levels where they are then. Okay, it's back up to the top. And we have Stan VK3BOT with the next image if you're ready, Stan. VK3AML.
Where's that? Didn't take long. All right, VK3BOT. At the drop of the repeater. This car is not original.
I got that on progressive and I almost got a full decode, but not quite, Stan. I can see very clearly, just a couple of patches. I got 92 out of 106, I think it is. 92 out of 106, but you were stunkered by the repeater ID towards the end. How did you go, Chris, VK3FMLD, VK3AML?
AML, VK3FMLD, yeah, I got exactly the same as you, 92 out of 106. Not original because that's not the original colour, and definitely not the original wheels. Not the original indicators, because it didn't have indicators on it originally. I think they had trafficators sticking out of the B pillar from memory. Maybe wrong there. Well, you just stuck your hand out the window and signalled as we used to do in the old days. VK3AML, VK3FMLD. I said 3 dB, didn't I?
Well, I got it at 20 dB. It would have come through perfectly had it not been for the ID. Terry, VK3FTJS, how did you go, VK3AML?
Yeah, 13 dB. Yeah, no, that car did a lot of work for Holden at one stage. Yeah, got some documentation that Stan would like to see one day. Yeah, I'll scan a few pages up for you, Stan. It's got a list of all the cars, everything that was made from A to Z, right up until 2005.
How many segments did you get out of that?
That was 13 dB.
You got the whole segment?
13 dB, we lost 16, and there was a gap at the end where that noise come in.
Yeah. Stan, can you take BSR?
Can, if you're able to send it, yes, definitely. As soon as you send it, I'll fix it.
Funny thing is I can't find it on my list. 200709, 2007. I just can't find it on the list for some strange reason. No, I'm sorry. What about you, Terry? Can you send a BSR?
Yeah, I'm doing it now, mate. I'll just send it now. Stand by. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go.
Okay, that fixed it for me. How about you, Chris, VK3FMLD? Did you get a fix?
Perfect.
Yep. And Terry?
Got it now, mate. Everything. Yep. Spot on car too. Very nice.
Okay, Steve, how did you do? VK3FRJH, VK3AML.
I did well.
Okay, so he got it. That grill, I remember being on my parents'. That's what I meant by that sort of bar across the middle. You see above the, that sort of thing that makes it almost look like a toothy grin in nickel above the rudguard. That was the difference that I was noting in the other one. VK3FTZD, Tim, did you get that okay? VK3AML.
I had 3 dB before, but I was doing a restart during the BSR stuff, so I didn't end up getting a full decode on it. I had to restart the app twice for it to pick up the microphone input, but certainly got everything at a higher level and more control on my end, so should be good, but unfortunately no full decode. Got a partial decode, very, very nice car. I'm actually trying to source photos of Dad's old FC that he was doing up before he totaled it. He ran into a cow drunken in the middle of the night, but that's another story. Yeah, back to you there, Chris. VK3AML, VK3FTZD.
That sounds like an only in Tasmania story, Tim.
That went up to 4 dB for VK3FMLD.
Only in Tasmania.
Yeah. Any story on that, Stan?
No, there's no story. It was taken in the same place as the last picture. In other words, down at the Peninsula Link at the car show they had there, down there. And you are correct, it's not original. The shape's roughly there, though, and the grille is correct. The wheels obviously aren't, and the paint's definitely not. Interesting feature. By the way, that your dad must have had a brand new car, or very close to it, because these things ran from 53 to 53 to 56 was the FJ. So this car would have been awfully close to being brand spanking new when you rode in it. Yeah, a very interesting feature of these early cars. I don't know how far it went, but the early ones had vacuum windscreen wipers on them. So if you lost the vacuum in the motor, your windscreen wiper didn't work. And the greater the vacuum, the faster the windscreen wipers worked. It was very interesting, and then later on, of course, they changed. Now, I was not aware that they had the flickers on the B pillar. I knew that the the Morris Miners did, and there were a couple of others. I think the Ford Prefect had them in the same place. I was looking at some pictures yesterday, of early Volkswagens, like around about 1949 to 52. They also had them on the B-pillow, but I didn't know that Holden's did. And the next time that I'm down there, which will not be this side of Christmas, I will have a good look and see. Moving right along, VK3AML, VK3BOT.
Yeah, good one, Stan. I know that the Vauxies had the trafficator. I don't remember a trafficator on my parents' FJ, so I don't think that they used that. I do remember my mother putting her hand out the window to turn right, like sticking her hand out 90 degrees, and when she had to stop, she'd hold her hand at, up vertically. It's you do that today, you're asking to have your arm ripped off. Okay, Chris, VK3FMLD, I think it's yours now, VK3AML.
Problems, I was just, it was just something that was in my mind, but looking at the pictures I've got here on the interwebs of FJs, definitely no trafficator. So there we go. Now, this picture, seeing we're sending railway pictures, this one is quite old, and I'll let people have a guess as to where it might be and fill you in after everybody's had a look at it. So hopefully I've got my signal right now, because I dropped it down just that little bit as you suggested. So at the drop of the repeater, I'll send this piece of historical photography. It tells you where it is on the picture. I just realised it's got text on it. Oh well, an interesting one anyhow. Okay, here we go again.
You got stunkered by the ID, so Terry, can I ask you to send a BSR on that?
I would, but Chris has got double receiver, hasn't he? He's got the receive and transmit separate.
Tonight?
Oh, okay. I'll go ahead with one then. Hang on a moment.
Perfect. Well, that's changed. Stan, VK3BOT, Are you seeing Blackburn VK3AML?
Not as I know it, no. No, definitely not. And it's changed dramatically, like even from when I knew it, Chris, because I haven't been out to Blackburn by rail since they rebuilt it. It's not the way that it was now. That whole section of track right through has completely changed. But yeah, that's very interesting. Now, I don't remember I can't remember which end of Blackburn that would be, whether you're looking at the city or whether you're looking at the other end. Good picture though. 5dB over here. Back to you, Chris. VK3AML, VK3BOT.
Yeah, I think it's looking towards the city. If it was looking the other way, I'd expect to see the Dandenong Ranges somewhere in the background. And from memory, as it goes from Blackburn to Nunawading, you're going uphill, and we're looking downhill back towards the city. That's my thought anyway. VK3FRJH. Steve, did you get that okay? VK3AML.
I didn't get the best decode because of the ident, and I also missed a bit of the BSR. Interesting, I got an alright image. Yeah, I go through Blackburn Station almost every day.
Yeah, a little bit behind us and a bit further back would be the pipeworks up near Nunawading. And that zigzag where Blackburn Road goes over the rail line is way down. You can almost see it. The shops are still there on the left. There's a row of shops on the south side of Blackburn Station, cafes and an op shop and a few other things. But even when I could first remember it in 1960, when my uncle and aunt lived out there, there was still quite a bit of vacant land, but not quite as much as this. I think this must be back about 1910. VK3 FTJS Terry, how did you go with that?
Yeah, full decode 6dB, not a problem, mate. Not a problem.
And Tim, VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTZD. Yeah, I got a full decode on that, 13dB. It didn't quite before, but then the BSR came through and it cleared it right up, and that is a masterpiece, that one. Yeah, it's definitely not like that now. I remember walking through there when it was still a level crossing, very much similar to what it is now, for playing Ingress. It used to be a circuit that we would walk. You'd do 4 laps of, and that'd be it for the day. But yeah, that's a really, really nice old photo, that one. I'm quite liking that one, actually.
Any story on it, Chris?
Yeah, I picked that up from the Box Hill and District Historical Society, or something like that, Facebook page a while back. I thought it was just a really interesting photo, and yeah, I'm sure that's Blackburn Road where it crosses the bridge with manually operated gates and whatnot. It looks to be about right. The land contour is about right. So I'm saying I'm pretty confident that that's looking towards the city from somewhere east of Blackburn Road. So yeah, that's about all I know about it at this stage. I would have to go back to the historical page and look for more detail, but I don't recall there being much there at the time. VK3AML, VK3FMLD.
Yeah, interesting. Anyway, Terry, I think it's yours now. VK3 FTJS, VK3AML.
Okay, I'll go ahead. Might be a moment. Here we go. So drop over the repeater.
Aha. 24 dB here, Terry, and that's Flinders Street, taken from St Paul's Cathedral, high up on St Paul's Cathedral, looking down on the original 1858 building, I think, and we saw the front of that earlier from down below. You can see the distant bridge, the Port Melbourne Railway Bridge that was put in 1854. You can see that at the top. That's a fascinating view. And bottom right-hand corner, cable tram and dummy. The dummy car was the enclosed passenger car at the back, and the cable tram part was the part with the grip in the front, and the front's on the left. Oh, they're on Flinders and Spencer Street. A lot of them going simultaneously. Interesting view. VK3 BOT, did you get that okay? VK3 AML.
Oh, yeah, no, I think it was about 17 dB here. Very, very interesting picture. You can see the St Kilda Bridge, really, really clear. You can see, you can pick out platforms, what was it, 10, 11, and on this side, which you can't see, 12 and 13. They're both there very, very clearly. And then you've got 8 and 9. You can't really see 5 and 6, but you can see the rest. The part that's interesting is that when you look at the other end, at the St Kilda Bridge end, the ramps go up, not down. Whereas now you go down. Yeah, very, very interesting. The hats, the hat shop. I think that's been continuous there on the corner since that was first built, way back when Adam was in diapers. Very interesting picture, yeah. Thanks for bringing these up. They are not bad at all. Back to you, Chris. VK3AML, VK3BOT.
Yeah, thanks for that, Stan. VK3FMLD, did you get that, Chris? VK3AML.
VK3FMLD, yeah, no problems. And at least three cable trams in there, which is interesting. Never ever saw one of those. I saw what they used to be. A few roads in Collingwood still had the slots where the cable used to run filled in, but you could still see where they were when I was young. And yeah, the Sandridge Bridge is very prominent there. Very interesting picture. Thank you very much. 17 dB and full decode with all segments received.
VK3FRJH, Steve, how did you go?
Full decode, 21 dB over.
Yeah, Terry does very, very well on the sig de noise. And VK3FTZD, Tim, how did you go? VK3AML.
Yeah, excellent photo on with that. There's actually, I think there's one or two buildings in that may actually still be standing to this day, but right up the very back there. But very, very nice picture. Full decode, 19 dB, 19 dB. So excellent.
You're doing extremely well, Terry, with that sig de noise with everybody. Okay, it's around to VK3FRJH. Steve, for the next photo.
Can I jump in again, Chris?
Yeah, sure, Stan.
Just as a point of interest, there's only be old parts like you and me that might be interested, Chris, but apparently there is a tram that now goes round on that St Kilda line, and you can actually follow the old railway formation, because apparently the trams, when they got rid of the railway lines, apparently they put trams on exactly the same formation, just as a point of interest. Now, if we're ever able to go and travel again, I'm actually going to go in there and I'll jump on the trams and follow around and just have a look at some of these places. This young bloke that does it, he's doing all of the Melbourne lines. So he's done the inner circle, the outer circle, and a few other ones that weren't interesting. For the first time I actually got to see around to what used to be Williamstown Pier, from Williamstown around to Willie Pier. Of course the station doesn't exist anymore, but the formation's still there. And that from me. Back to you, Chris. Thank you for letting me break in there. Just as a point of interest, that's all.
Yeah, I'm actually old enough to have travelled most of those lines. I've done Port Melbourne, I've done from Flinders Street, I've done St Kilda from Flinders Street by train. I think they cut those off at the end of the 70s or the early 80s. I've also, out the western suburbs, they've changed the rail lines there quite a bit. You used to go to Geelong, I'm just trying to think of it, through Mobiletown, but they changed it so that you can go to Geelong through Altona now, or something. I know that something has changed in a major way out in those western suburbs, and I think the Mobiletown station has disappeared. That was in existence in the mid-70s. I used to go through there. FTJS, so it's now your turn, Steve. VK3FRJH, VK3AML.
A good one. I will transmit the drop of the repeater.
Are there any Catholics on the channel? Thank you for that, Steve. VK3BOT, Stan, you got that?
Yeah, I did actually. 9dB at VK3BOT, file OK, and we're allowed to send our religion up. That's just fine. Apparently the Jews are even worse. They apparently are very scathing. Yes. So I don't think we've got anything to worry about. Yeah, the band behind the Pope is the official beat boxer for the Pope's verses. Very good, I like that.
So do I. VK3FMLD, how'd you go, Chris?
7 segments, 7 dB, full decode.
Good stuff. VK3FTJS, Terry?
Yeah, 10 dB full decode.
Good stuff. Looks like you're getting through to everybody, Steve. VK3FTZD, Tim?
Yeah, 12 dB over here. Excellent, excellent meme, that one.
No worries. Are you a Catholic, Steve?
No comment, but no.
Okay. No worries. Good stuff. Okay. Yeah, that came through very nicely and very quickly too. So, VK3FTZD, Tim, it's over to you.
Yeah, no worries. I have an image ready to go. It's along the lines of the old cars. Now, this is a pretty old photo. This probably would have been taken in 1980. Oh, it would have been late 87 or early 88. So I'll send this through.
I think that's the 1961 Holden, which was the car that my parents got to replace the old FJ. Interesting. VK3BOT, did you get that, Stan?
No, I didn't actually. I missed about a third at the start of it, where it just didn't do anything, and then all of a sudden it went up and it did what it's supposed to do. So yeah, I don't quite know what went wrong there.
Okay, how about Chris VK3FMLD?
No, I didn't do any work good there. I also missed a lot at the start, so I just didn't synchronise it, or it'd be in and out of sync, and I get one segment and have 3 fail and things like that. So I'm still missing 49 segments, and the signal was only 2 dB.
Oh, okay. I got it at 14 dB. I'll just check. Steve, 3FRJH, do you have any trouble?
Second, I got it at 5 dB over.
Okay, not doing too well. Maybe send it again, Tim.
Yeah, I can resend. Also, I would have been maybe about probably either not even 1 year old or just turned 1 in this image as well.
Okay, how did you go that time, Stan? VK3BOT and VK3AML.
No, give up on that one, mate. That's no good. No, it did do a little bit. I got a little bit at the beginning, but no good at all. And that was the FE. I've got a picture of that image here, but the FJ was followed by the FE, Fox Echo, which was followed by the Fox Charlie. Nobody knows why Holden decided to throw a Fox Echo in there. I guess the powers that be, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But anyway, we didn't get it, and just keep going on. VK3AML, VK3BOT.
Yeah, ours was from memory either an FC or an FX. Does that sound right?
No, I put up the picture of the FX. Between the FX and the FC was the FE, Fox Echo, and that's the one that your mum and dad would have had. If they had the one straight after the FJ, then that would have been the Fox Echo.
Looks almost like an FJ on the left there, or it could be a Morris, I'm not sure. Any information, Tim?
Just pulled me book, guys. I'm just looking at it now with all the pictures, identifications and stuff in it.
Yeah, Steve, did you get that? VK3AML on the second try. VK3FRJH, you there? VK3AML.
I got a full decode.
Ah, good. And Tim, was this Deloraine?
No, it wasn't Deloraine. It was further out. This was actually taken in Meander. There's a side road that takes you into the main township of Neanderthal, and this is on that house. On that side road, this house is a little bit away from the road. It's a massive long driveway. So the white car is an FC, but I think it's got the wrong grille in the front of it. Or that's what I think my old man was saying at one stage. But it is an FC. It's got everything FC in it, interior and everything like that. This is the car that a few years later on, he was driving all of us, the whole family, while he was drunk and run into a cow and absolutely destroyed the front end of this car, to the point where we sort of limped home. Actually, no, I think we limped to a friend's place and then got them to tow us at some ungodly hour of the night to get us home. So, yeah, fun. And the other car I'm not too sure about. The green car I don't know. But yeah, it's taken probably 87, 88, this photo.
Okay, I know Meander quite well. We had friends at Whitemore, which wasn't too far from there. I had a girlfriend who lived in Somerset for most of the 80s, Somerset up near Burnie, and her uncle and aunt lived at Whitemore in the shadow of the Western Tiers, not too far from there, so I'm very familiar with that area. Anyway, sorry, I'm raving. VK3... who's next? FTZD. Oh, it's me. Okay. There's an image that I'll have a bit of fun with this. I'll just see. Yes, I can send the image and a file in the waterfall. And I'll send a bit of both on the drop of the repeater, VK3AML. Okay, hope you got that. Stan, VK3BOT, did you resolve it?
No, failed to decode. I'm missing 10.
Okay, how did you go, Steve, Chris, VK3FMLD, VK3AML?
Full decode, no problems.
Okay, the second image, the red one, is taken off the screen of a mechanical television receiver that we built to John Logie Baird's patent diagram. Myself and the chap in the picture. The chap in the picture is Mike Groth, VK7MJ. and the picture's made up of 30 vertical lines, the same as Baird's original TV of 1926. Terry, VK3FTJS, how did you go on that?
Yeah, 18 dB, full decode, photo in the side. Oh, what, Chris? Yeah, spot on.
Good stuff. Yeah, I thought I'd fiddle with the waterfall. It's a facility we rarely use. VK3FRJH, Steve, did you get it okay?
Yeah, full decode, 10 dB over, and I got a snapshot of the waterfall too.
Oh, good stuff. VK3FTZD, how did you do, Tim? VK3AML.
VK3AML, VK3FTZD, full decode on that, 21 dB, 2-1. That's the best I've received all night. Nearly got my receiving levels back to the way they were. Yes, I got your picture as well. I've cropped it down and posted it into the chat group that's there, and I can put it up on the Facebook page as well, and have a bit of a look at that. But yeah, certainly a very nice picture, and that waterfall picture come up really clear. I'm very impressed.
I must admit I had to fiddle with the grayscale quite a bit to get it to show any grayscale. If you just bung a black and white photo in without manipulation, it tends to just come out as like it's gone through a photostat machine, all black and all white. So if you fiddle it with the gamma control, you can actually get it to look a great deal better. Okay. It's back to Stan, VK3BOT. As you were the only one that missed that pic, Stan, we can skip, I think, rather than transmitting again, and go across to your good self, VK3BOT to take, VK3AML.
Well, as soon as somebody's been kind enough to put it up on the page, I'll find it from up there. At the drop of the repeater, VK3BOT will send a picture of the worst railway station that he knows of in the entire world.
Full decode here, 106 segments and 22 dB, so very, very good, Stan. Steve, Chris, VK3FMLD, how did you do? VK3AML.
Segments, 5 dB, full decode.
It's a nice shot from that overhead walkway. VK3FTJS, Terry, how did you do? VK3AML.
18 dB, full decode. Yeah, Stan's doing quite well. His levels have come down now, and he's doing quite good compared to normal.
Yeah, 22 dB, can't complain. Steve, VK3FRJH, how did you do?
10 dB over, 106 out of 106 full decode. Yeah, Southern Cross isn't, it's not that bad.
After we hear from Tim, I'll be interested to hear from Stan why he calls it the worst station in the world. VK3FTZD, how did you do, Tim?
Yeah, VK3AML, VK3FTZD returning. I got 20 dB on that one. Excellent decode, and it's not that bad. Yes, it's very noisy, and all those diesel fumes they get into your lungs, and you sit there for a week trying to cough it out. And Yeah, and lots of escalators everywhere. Escalators and stairs. You've got to go up and then down, just to cross to the other side of the station. It's a fun station.
In the old days, it was all done by tunnels, and even that was confusing. Stan, why did you say that about Southern Cross, VK3BOT, for an explanation, VK3AML?
Tim said it all, huh? He said it all. My experience of railway stations, obviously, mostly is here in Australia. But when I was over in the UK, I went to lots and lots of railway stations because I didn't use a motor car when I was there. I travelled everywhere by rail. And of all the railway stations that I've been to, this is the only one where you cop your guts up for the next 3 weeks after you've been there for one trip. That roof is supposed to, it's designed in such a fashion that it's supposed to draw the diesel fumes out, but it doesn't. I could not imagine working in that place, and how on earth it gets past the EPA but absolutely beats me. It did from day one. I know why it's as bad as what it is. Unfortunately, Chris, they'll never fix it. But that's without a doubt. Paddington Station also has diesels and it has electrics. Manchester has diesels and electrics. These are all covered stations over in the UK, and there is none of them that is as bad as what that one is there at Southern Cross. So yeah, that's I can tell you now, I don't miss driving trains through that place. No, the old Southern Cross, as it was, Spencer Street as it was called, that was good, but this is definitely not. No, it's the worst railway station I think that I've ever seen. VK3AML, VK3BOT, and we can move on.
No worries, Chris. We've got just enough time for you to give us the last photo of the night. VK3FMLD, VK3AML.
In that case, at the drop of the repeater, I'll send a minute's worth of horrible noises. There we go.
Oh dear, yes. There's a very interesting site on Facebook you might like to have a look at for source material called Crap Electrical. And they have some really interesting electrical installations there too. VK3BOT, Stan, how did you go with that? I got 17 dB, 106 segments, full decode. VK3BOT, VK3AML.
6 dB of VK3BOT. I have 94 out of 106 segments, full decode, no drama at all. You know, they're right. Where was it installed? On the ceiling. What's the problem? With those words of wisdom, see you all next Thursday night. VK3BOT said that lot.
Good on you, Stan. VK3FMLD, Chris, how'd you... Oh, wait a minute, you transmitted it. I'm being stupid again. VK3FTZD, how'd you do, Terry? VK3AML.
7 dB full decode, yeah. Must have been done by the dudes while I was putting the insulation in the roof.
I better not pursue that. Or the member of the rock group who encouraged it. The leader of the rock group who encouraged it. VK3FRJH, how did you go, Steve? VK3AML.
Weird. I got 100 out of 105, and I got nothing.
So you weren't on progressive, probably. Progressive brings up the picture gradually and you get something, but not in that case. Tim. So sorry about that, Steve. VK3FTZD, VK3AML.
Yeah, thanks, Chris. Falling asleep here now. Yes, full decode on that. Very amusing. 16 dB here.
Good stuff. Anyway, I think that brings us to the end of the night. So final comments, people. 3BOT, if you're still there and haven't signed and walked away. Any final comments, Stan? VK3BOT, VK3AML.
No, thank you for being at my house. Thank you for having me at yours, and we'll see you all at the same time next week. VK3 Bravo Oscar Tango is going quiet and will not be provoked.
No worries, Stan. All the best. VK3FMLD, any final comment?
Net tonight, Chris. Been quite interesting. We've had some good pictures. I am a member of Crappy Electrical. I just stopped following it for a while because I was doing something else and forgot to re-follow it. So I noticed Tim's a member of that group too. So yeah, thank you very much again. It's been a good night, and I'll catch up with you, if not during the week, then here next Thursday. VK3FMLD is also going QRT and going to bed. I'm tired tonight. I've really had a long day. Good night all.
I think we all have, Chris. It's getting to that time of the year, and facing 6 weeks of this, I think a lot of us will be on the air a lot of the time, particularly those of us who are retired. VK3FTJS, any final commentary?
Yeah, good night, boy all. Thanks for running the show, Chris. See, Tim turned up, good stuff. Everybody else that turned up, good stuff. 73's to all, and thanks, we had a good night.
No worries. FRJH, Steve, any final comment?
Yeah, it's interesting. I had Progressive on and it didn't work.
Sometimes the program has a hissy fit, and the only thing you can do is to reboot it. Just go for that little red rectangle top right and just knock it down and then bring it up again. And it usually, you know, the old saying with a computer, if it doesn't work, just switch it off and switch it on again. Back to you, Tim. VK3FTZD, VK3AML, any final comment?
Not much. Thank you, Chris, for running the net. It's been a pleasure joining in the net tonight, albeit my tardiness. Cool. And that Southern Cross Station photo, I was working there for about an hour today. It's not that bad. Oh dear, yes, I do feel sorry for the metro workers that are there for long shifts. But yeah, excellent net tonight. Thoroughly enjoyed it. 73s everyone, and I'm going to go to bed. I'm knackered. I've got a 4 a.m. start tomorrow morning as well.
Okay, Tim, thanks so much for coming up. It's really good to keep this going through particularly the shut-in. Final closing announcement. You've been listening to the EasyPal Net, a regular weekly sanctioned activity of the repeater owner, which is Amateur Radio Victoria. We meet on this repeater every Thursday night, 9 p.m. local in Melbourne and places around, finishing usually at 11 p.m. We're a little late tonight. And hope to see everybody, including listeners and or decoders on YouTube, next week, next Thursday, particularly if you're within range of this Melbourne repeater, VK3RML, 146.7 with a 91.5 hertz tone. If not, try decoding from the YouTube clip that gets put up on the Friday. All the best, people. VK3AML now clearing the frequency and closing the net.
Thanks, Chris. 73.
Cheers.